Shalom, this is Adasa Basaiwan, returning to the book of Revelation, and what we're going to look at is chapter 13. Now, originally, this was once chapter 17 in the book of in the Bible, but remember, this is a revised book of Revelation, so the chapters are going to be different. Now, before we get started, I want to go through the previous chapters so that you can see the order of events that have been taking place. Chapter 1, you have the revelation of Hamashiach to Yahawah and to us, of course. Chapters 2 and 3, the letters of judgments to the 7 assemblies. And that pertains to the 12 tribes of Yahawah, because we're 12 tribes divided into those 7 assemblies. Chapter 4, in the throne room of Yahawah. Chapter 5, who is worthy to open the book. Chapter 6, part 1, we looked at the 4 seals. Chapter 6, part 2, the woman and the dragon. Chapter 7, the reaping of the southern kingdom. Chapter 8, the rise of the 2 beasts. Chapter 9, part 1, the sifting of the northern kingdom begins. Chapter 9, part 2, the coming judgments of the 2 olive trees. Chapter 10, the second exodus of the northern kingdom begins. Chapter 11, the 2 woes. Chapter 12, the 7 thunders and the 7 trumpets. And now we are at chapter 13, part 1, the judgment of the whore of Babylon begins. Now between chapter 12 and chapter 13, I did a 4-part series looking in detail again and with new precepts about the second exodus of the northern kingdom, what they're going to go through and why and how it's all going to end. It's a beautiful ending, so please go and watch those 4-part series and you're going to be blessed by it. So this is chapter 13 of the revised book of Revelation, revised and not changed. Did not take anything out, did not add anything in. I just move around the chapters and some of the verses, some of the chapters and some of the verses. So this one is called the judgment of the whore of Babylon begins. And this is going to be a big chapter only because it is packed with prophecies, with information rather, not prophecy. It is prophetic, but it is packed with a lot of information. And thankfully, I did a study, I believe it's either 3 or 4 parts, called The Beast of the Book of Revelation. And it goes into detail about some of the things that I'm going to be discussing here. But what I'm going to do here is plug it all in, because we looked at it in the view of the beast of the books of Revelation. Now we're going to look at it through the lens of the book of Revelation, because we want to see how this whore of Babylon is plugged in now in the sequence of events that are going to take place. So now you have that. If you haven't watched those videos, those studies, I would strongly encourage you, because it is so informative. There's so much information there. I couldn't possibly put it in here in this section, because already this one chapter is going to be at least 3 parts. All right. But because I did it separately, and I still drew from the book of Revelation, don't worry, and I also drew from other prophetic books, it gives you a clear idea of who this whore is. So I would strongly advise you, please go and watch those videos you get so much more information. So that when you come back to this chapter, then everything will be, okay, yes, now I see how that all fits in. All right? So let's get started by reading the chapter, and then we're going to get into the verses. I believe this part 1 only deals up to verse 5. And there came one of the angels who had the 7 trumpets and talked with me, saying unto me, Come here, I will show you the judgment of the great whore that sits upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahawah. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore do you marvel? I will tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carried her, which has the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that you saw was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. Verse 9. And here is the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he comes, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goes into perdition. The 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings, which receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. They have 1 mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Adawan of lords, and Malak, Ol Malakayam, King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he said unto me, The waters which you saw where the whore sits are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which you saw upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For Allahayam has put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Allahayam shall be fulfilled. And the woman which you saw is that great city, which reigns over the kings of the earth. And right there, verse 18 tells you who the whore of Babylon is. She is a type of a city. But greater than that, she is not a country. She is not a country. Many people today, they're calling just about every country Babylon. Babylon, USA, Babylon, Canada, Babylon, UK, Babylon this, Babylon that, because people do not understand scriptures. They do not understand prophecies. They're not getting the revelation of prophecy from Ruach HaKodesh, so they're hearing what other people are saying, and they're going on what other people are saying, and they are just running with it. Babylon is not a country. Yes, it is a city of a sort. We already discussed what city it is in the study called The Beast of the Book of Revelation. We studied who she is. Now we're going to plug her into the end times, where we're going to see the judgments that are going to come against her. But before we get started on the actual judgments, let's see who she is. Now, this chapter concerning the whore of Babylon is going to be a hefty chapter, because there's a lot going on with the prophetic imagery and the timeline of the beast empires. After the northern kingdom makes it home to the land of Yahawah, now Yahawah will turn his attention to the one beast that will continue to corrupt mankind and his creation beyond recognition. Worse than the Nephilim before the flood. Worse than Sodom and Gomorrah. Alright? Originally, this chapter sat at chapter 17 after the 7 vile judgments, which does not make any sense. It is more fitting, when after the northern kingdom is out of the way, that the next system to be taken down will be the pagan religious system that has corrupted the world since the dawn of time. So this system has been around from the very beginning, from the time when Adam and Hawa ate of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That system, in fact, that system came about when Lucifer was in heaven. When he sinned, when he transgressed, that system was birthed in him. And then it was passed on to Adam and Hawa in the Garden of Eden, to be better, higher, greater than Elohim. That's the system. To worship self. To worship anything and everything except Elohim. That's the system. It is a pagan religious system. So that's why it has been around since Lucifer fell from the heavens. He turned against Elohim and began to worship himself, and caused the other angels that were under him to worship him. So that's the birth of this system, this paganism, that has spawned every single religious house that's out there. Every single religion that's out there is birthed or was birthed by this system, and she's not finished yet. She's still birthing some more. Look around you and see what's happening today. But one day she will arise and shock the world. We'll see that at the end. When this system arises on this earth in the fullness of her glory, her pagan, religious, evil, wicked glory. All right? The world, one will be repelled by her. The ones that will be gathered onto Elohim, but the greater majority of the people will be in awe of her. Just look around you today. Look at all the different wicked things that is being legalized now. That's part of this system. Okay. So it is more fitting to have this system to be judged at this point of time and not after the 7 vials, because after the 7 vials, then we see other events that ought to have been taking place. So the first Satan, the first beast that will be destroyed will be this whore. All right? It will be destroyed by fire. We're going to see that in later chapters. This is the first one, the first Satan that will be cast into the lake of fire. along with the beast, along with the beast that she's riding. All right. Okay. Don't want to jump too far ahead. We will return to to previous studies to pull them all together to see who this entity is, its origin, and why it will endure such punishments from Allah Hayam at this time. If you have been following along in these series of studies, you will understand the origin and history of the fallen angels, the Satans and the Nephilim spirits that are roaming on this earth. You will also realize that the Satans and their minions, the earthly agents as well, are all operating currently as they have been cast down to the earth from the heavens. So let us review the study called the Beast of the Book of Revelation. We know that there will be 8 empires. So I'm just giving you a refresher. If you have studied, if you have looked at that study, or if you haven't, this may seem a little bit, I don't know, much. But if you go to the study, you will see all the information there, the precepts, everything that points you, because we studied from the book of Yahawah as well as the book of Revelation. So these aren't things that I'm pulling off the top of my head or out of me. This is the word of Allah Hayam. All right? This is all being prophesied. It's just that people have misunderstood the prophecies because Allah Hayam, Ruach HaKadosh, did not reveal what these prophecies meant. All right? So we're going to review the 8 empires in total that will rule this earth, but technically only 4 according to the prophecy of Daniel. So truly there are only 4. But you will see that the 4th empire will reform itself to form the 5th empire, and then it will spawn 3 more empires. All right? There are 4 beast systems, or rather empires, that have been around since the dawn of time. So let us look at these empires. The first one was the Babylonian Empire, and when we look at the book of Daniel, we saw that Nebuchadnezzar had a dream, and he saw this image, this great image, and it had a head of gold. And later on, Daniel had he had a vision, and in the vision, what he saw, the first beast was like a lion with a man's heart. So those are the same, one and the same. The head of gold, a lion with a man's heart, that is the Babylonian Empire. All right? The Medes and Persian Empire is the chest and arms of silver, and the animal that Daniel saw was the bear. The Greek Empire was the belly and thighs of brass, and it was the leopard. Now, just let me say this. The Babylonian Empire was conquered by the Medes and Persian Empire. The Medes and Persian Empire was conquered by the Greek Empire. And then finally, number 4 empire, which is the Roman Empire. It was the worst of them all. It was a beast with no description, and it spawned the next 4 empires. Well, actually it was 3. It reformed itself to become the 5th empire, and then it spawned 3 other empires. And it was the legs of iron, and it had a nondescript animal because it was so grotesque. Why? Because it was a combination of all these animals. It was a combination of a lion, bear, and leopard. And we see that in the book of Revelation because Yahawah saw the animal. He had a body of a leopard, feet of a bear, and a mouth of a lion. So the Roman Empire, which is the worst of them all, never was conquered. No, it was not. It fell apart to reform itself again to become the fifth empire, which is the Roman Catholic Church. Don't fool yourselves to think that this is just a religious institution. It is an empire. But it has now incorporated religion as part of its existence. It is a worldwide empire. When you look and see who is sitting on the throne, its emperor is called the Pope. All right? And although it is nothing like its predecessors, it still rules like an empire. It controls. That's what an empire does. It goes in, it conquers, and it controls. One of the biggest religions out there is the Roman Catholics religion. All right? And we know it spawned other religions. It spawned the Anglican. But they're all still part of the same beast. It's just that they keep the people divided using religion. You got the Pentecostal, the evangelicals, the Protestants, no matter what they call themselves, the reformers, they're all still part of this religious system. Just a different name to the beast to keep you thinking that you are not part of that religious house, but you're part of this religious house, which is more in line with what I believe in compared to what they believe in. I don't want to worship a woman. I want to worship Jesus. Right? So at the end of the day, they're all going to find out that all of these religions have the same Satan ruling them. All right. So we see that this Roman Catholic Church had feet and toes of iron and clay, and it is still reforming itself, and it's the offspring. It is the reformed Roman Empire, because if you understand where the Roman Empire, how the Roman Empire becomes the Roman Catholic Church, it is the Roman Empire became, they call it Christianity. All right? But Christianity was around long before Hamashiach, who they call the Christ, right? Before he was here. Christianity is an old pagan religion that came from Egyptology. That's why the cross is a modified ankh amongst all the other things that they embrace as part of their religion, part of their beliefs. I went through that as well when I went through the beast of the book of Revelation. When Hamashiach died and he left his apostles to carry on the preaching and the teaching of the good news, the kingdom of heaven, about repentance, many people were coming into the fold. The Romans at that time did not like it. Neither did the religious Jews, the leaders of the day, didn't like it. So they were persecuted. Our brethren were persecuted, killed, imprisoned, beaten, you name it, they did it against them. And the more they persecuted them, the stronger the message became, and more people were being converted. All right? But a time came, and I don't mean to go down this historical path, but I'm just trying to get you to understand why feet and toes of iron and clay. who are the iron and who is the clay, because some people are saying this is iron speaks of technology and the clay is your body, so it's like the humanoid type thing, because people go and they take the stuff and then they become part machine and part human. No, absolutely not. All right, because this empire has been around long before AI, before technology. All right, so during the time when our brethren were persecuted and yet they were fighting against the Roman Empire, somehow there was a treaty that was formed, because I guess our brethren got tired of fighting. And some said, you know what, if we can make peace with them, and then we don't have to die. And the treaty was formed. But the condition of the treaty was that they have to give up their religion. Not religion, sorry. They have to give up their culture. They have to give up their worship of Yahawah and embrace Christianity. Otherwise, I'm going to kill you. So no more of this talk about Hamashiach and the kingdom of heaven. No more talking about no more following the doctrines and the commandments and the laws. You don't need to come over here and follow our laws and our doctrines, which is the worship of Mary and this person hanging on a cross and taking the Eucharist and all the different things that they have in that religion. Of course, those that rejected it, they were killed. And then some of our brethren went over on that side. So they're the clay. And we know that the Roman Empire is iron. The Roman Empire is iron. So the iron is the Roman Empire mingling with our people, bringing our people into its religion. But they will not mix, because we serve Yahawah. And that's why it made the feet weak. It was the biggest mistake that Satan did, to bring us in, because it made the feet weak. And when the feet are weak, then the rest of the structure becomes weak. So let's move on to number 6. The United Nations, also called the UN abbreviated, is the currently ruling with worldwide dominance. It's the offspring of the Roman Empire. So we still have the Catholic Church in existence, but it has somewhat diminished, but still it is in existence. It's still there. You still see it. And you see its emperor all the time out there denying Yahawah, denying righteousness, denying holiness, denying the laws that the Most High has given to us. Man and man, woman. He's embracing that. He's embracing all the things that Yahawah has rejected. He calls abominations. This emperor of the Catholic, you know what, is setting the stage for the rise of the whore. That's why he's condoning everything and everything. Anything and everything goes with him. Last few months ago, did they not converge 3 main religions? Chrislam? That's just the beginning. All right? But this creature is forming itself right now. Because later on, it is going to be needed by the beast. Another beast. That's why she's writing on the scarlet beast, remember. Number 6, the United Nations, yes, and is currently ruling. And we have seen how this entity is ruling. It has many different alphabet agencies. I went through them in, I believe, the part 4. I might be incorrect because I can't remember if there are 3 parts or 4 parts. But the last study of the beast of the book of Revelation, I went through all 15 or 16 or maybe even 17 of these alphabet agencies that is currently under the leadership of this empire. And these agencies are what controls us in this world. Let me give you one, the World Health Organization. Look at what happened just the other day in Europe. Not Europe. But I can't remember what country it was in. But it met with the EU and signed their treaties together to bring out, you know what? Now you're going to have to, well, this, I'm trying to be very careful because of the algorithm. But the toxin, the serpent juice, all right? They now have created a sort of a passport. Now, other countries have already signed on for this because now if you want to travel, you're going to have one of these things. And it's digital. It will be on your phone. All right? But in order to have this thing on your phone, you have to go and drink the serpent juice. You got to go and drink the Kool-Aid. So you can get that digital approval, that check mark to say, yes, another one bites the dust. Sorry. Because that's exactly what's going to happen to you. Anyways, if you take it. But this has been passed. And not only did they give that, not only did they sign, the documents and whatnot, but they also handed over their sovereignty to this alphabet agency. It's in the news. Go look it up. Now they have the power to shut down, I would say by now, the greater majority of the earth without having to go through the officials in the countries. They can just automatically overnight shut it down. I know they did it a few years ago. Right? They did it a few years ago. But this time around, they're showing you, they're flexing their muscles and showing you, we have the power now over all these countries. So don't tell me that this entity is not an empire. Because what an empire does, it conquers, takes away the sovereignty of the nation, and it controls. So this is an empire currently ruling. And what it's going to do when number 7, the NWO, comes on the scene, when it rises up from the sea. All right? Because that's the empire that's coming out of the sea. The waters, the nations, the peoples, because it's going to be made up of leaders and entities. And it's what is going to happen with the number 6 is going to converge and be a part of this number 7. It's going to diminish and become one of its heads. And the head that is going to become is the one that controls all the governments. So it's going to be the governmental system, because it's going to control every single government on this earth. So it's going to become one of the NWO's heads. I discussed all of this already. All right. So this particular empire is comprised of 3 animals. This is the one that Yahawah saw: the body of a leopard, the feet of a bear, and the mouth of a lion, speaking blasphemy against Elohim. That's this empire. But this empire, with the 7 heads and 10 horns, and I believe the crowns will be on the 10 horns, which will be the kings, the leaders that will be governing the 10 territories on this earth. That's what's going to happen. That means that Most High is allowing them the authority, giving them the authority, allowing them to carry out their evil agendas. And one of the main agenda of the NWO, and especially because not too long after that, the anti-Messiah, which will be the lamb-like creature, but it speaks like the dragon, that's coming out of the earth. That's the anti-Messiah, the false prophet. They're one and the same. They're not 2 different entities. And he will become the emperor that will rule with this empire. And another thing that I have it written here, but I didn't say it. The number 7 NWO empire, beast empire, will be an empire of technology. That's why we see so much technology today. Everything is technology, because this is how this empire is going to rule and reign and control, conquer and destroy. All right? With technology. And this empire, the main objective is to try to destroy the remaining tribes, because the southern kingdom by this time is gone. But the northern kingdom at this point of time will be awakened. So the only peoples on this earth that Satan, or the Satans, because these empires are possessed by Satans, they hate the 12 tribes of Yahshua. Why? Because when Satan, especially Lucifer, whose real name is really Gadriel, when he lost his glory, and we're going to see that here in this book, in this study, he lost his glory and it was given to Abraham. So that means that we have an upgraded glory. We have the glory that Adam and Hawa lost, and we also will get the glory that Lucifer, Gadriel lost. And that's why they hate us, because the 12 tribes of Yahshua will replace those fallen angels. We are their replacement. So all that they have lost, we will gain. All right, that's why they hate us. And the NWO and the beast and the anti-Messiah is going to come out against the northern kingdom and war against them to try to destroy them. And I've already covered that so many times, so I'm not going to go back and cover that again. The only thing that's going to stop this world empire from completely obliterating our people, because many have to die. They have to be martyred. This is their time of martyrdom. They're the assembly of Smyrna, the martyrs. Why? Because the southern kingdom have fulfilled their number of martyrs now, and they're the ones who are under the altar in the throne room of Yahawah, crying out, when are you going to avenge us? So it is the it is the northern kingdom. This is their turn to be martyred. All right? This is their turn to be martyred. So the only thing that is going to stop this empire in its tracks will be the great earthquake, seal number 6. Destroy all of the technology, and look what happens. Oh, and that Satan will be dethroned. He will be dethroned. And this empire will go underground to reform itself to be number 8. Still the NWO, but it's reformed, but it has no more technology. And so it has not the power. In fact, it lacks the authority from Yahawah. So it'll have no crowns. It'll still have the 7 heads, the 10 horns, but no crowns. So it will depend on the whore to help it to gain control once again on the earth, right? To reign. But it will hate the whore. Because these Satans, they want to be top dog all the time. So it will be no more technology, but back to how the first empires reigned, with bows and arrows and spears and javelins and whatnot, riding horses. So there'll be no more airplanes, no more armor trucks, none of those things. All of that is finished. The Father is going to level the playing field now. Technology is done. We wouldn't even have electricity anymore after this. Back to candles and using oil to get light. All right. So the fourth empire, which was listed as the last empire, called the Roman Empire, reformed itself after it, quote unquote, fell. Hence, we have the fifth empire, called the Roman Catholic Church. This empire is made up of iron, who are the Romans, and clay, who is Yahawah. It was the southern kingdom, not the northern kingdom. Yes, many of our brethren are still lost in Christianity, which is still the Roman Catholic Church and its various other denominations. And all of its other denominations, actually. And for the record, this is what this empire represents. Pagan religion. Even some of our brethren that call themselves Hebrew Israelites are worshiping under this empire. They don't even know it. The word Hebrew and Israelite, or Israel, Hebrew Israel, those are their words. But that's not who we are. We are Yahawah. Yashar means upright. And Al is the abbreviation for Yahawah. So we are the upright of Yahawah. That's who we are. We're not Hebrews. There's no such word as Hebrew. And anything that ends with El has to do with Baal, Master, Lord, Satan. All right? As they're connected to secret society. So these same so-called Hebrew Israelites, a lot of these fancy ones that like to walk around, these costumes that they look like clowns in costumes, and they're marching around with this look on their faces like, oh, I'm so bad, you know? But they are connected to secret societies like the Masons. Yes, they are. I saw the ones myself. I saw it. The Masons were out there marching with their aprons on. And guess who was pulling up behind them? One of these Hebrew Israelite camps, the ones that dress in all black. They were pulling up behind them. I'm proud. So don't tell me that these people aren't connected to each other. And the reason why they're connected to each other because there are a lot of people that call themselves us, Negroes, and they are Edomites, Canaanites, Hamites, but they're not us. And if the few of them that are us, they're sellouts. They have sold their soul for money, position, and power. But let them enjoy it now while they can. All right? So all these Hebrew Israelite camps are connected to these secret societies. Stay out of them. Get out of them. They're misleading you. They're teaching you from mystery books. Right? They're going into, because these same secret societies have their books. And that's where they teach you from. You don't need much than the Bible and the Apocrypha. I like the 12 Testament, the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs. That's what it's called, and a few other books. I don't mind it. Ezra. I don't mind those books. But when you got these mystery books that nobody else can have except them, I'm like, hello, no, thank you. I don't want it. I don't even want to hear what you have to say. Right? Because you could be casting a spell on me, and that's what they do. They cast spells on people to keep them under them. Remember, it's all witchcraft. All other empires after the Roman Empire are its spawns as well. So let's take a look at number 5. The Roman Catholic Church was a worldwide empire. Although nothing like its predecessors, the feet and toes of iron and the clay, and it's reforming. So the Roman Catholic Church is still around today, unlike its predecessors, as it has not yet fully fulfilled its purpose. And that is to bring the world and its inhabitants under one religion. That's the purpose. This once world-ruling religious empire has somewhat diminished to make room for the next current ruling empire, the United Nations. Number 6, the UN, currently ruling with worldwide dominance, is the offspring of the Roman Empire. After the UN has fulfilled its purpose, what it's doing right now, it's taking away the sovereignty of the nations, right? And controlling every single country on this earth, then it will diminish and converge with the next great empire, the NWO. It will converge and be one of its heads. The NWO empire will rule only for a short while. Then after a disaster, it will be restored once again, but for the last time. Then all these empires will be destroyed. So the NWO will rule for only 3.5 years. So this war between the new NWO and which is the New World Order, by the way. I'm not going to keep repeating those words. It's going to war against the Northern Kingdom, and that war is going to last for about 3.5 years, because we know that the 6th seal is going to be opened midway before the 7 years are over. Midway of the last 7 years. So we are looking at the last 7 years here, all right? So it's going to be a hard life for the Northern Kingdom, but that's okay. Right? I shouldn't say it's okay, because it's not, but they have to go through it, because we've been going through years, generations of persecutions. They're going to go through theirs like it's on steroids. It's going to be hard, harsh, and fast. 3.5 years. All right. Number 7, the New World Order, also referred to as the NWO, primarily an empire of technology comprised of the 3 animals above. And what I said about this NWO Beast Empire number 7 will be an empire built entirely on technology, and it will use this technology to control everyone on the earth. Everyone will need to have a digital ID. You're going to need the digital passport. You're going to need, everything is going to be digital. Your money is going to be digital. So don't think of buying silver and gold. You can't use it, because you're going to have a credit score. Now, let me just say this. You're not going to like what I have to say, but that's okay. This is to provoke you to righteousness. If you think that you can survive here on the earth after the chariots come, I'm speaking to the southern kingdom. If you think that you can survive on this earth after the chariots come and take away the righteous remnant, think again, because the Most High is going to destroy you. Either he's going to destroy you right there on the spot, or he's going to send out these evil, wicked entities out against you to destroy you. Even if you surrender to the empire, they don't want you. They don't care about you. They just want to destroy you, because they will hate you. And Yahawah is going to put it in their hearts to hate you. And he's going to put it in their hearts to destroy you. All right? So you are not going to survive living after the chariots are gone. That's the southern kingdom. The northern kingdom, they're going to be given the strength to fight, yet they will be prevailed against, because Yahawah is going to sift them as well, using this empire and its emperor. All right? So don't think that you can beat the system. It's not going to happen. So it will be a terrible and fierce empire, wreaking havoc, chaos, and destruction everywhere. The emblem and the signature of the fallen angels, because they love chaos, they love confusion. The more chaos, confusion, destruction, they love it. They thrive on it. They thrive on fear. All right? This is what they love. However, this empire is no match to Yahawah, who will bring an abrupt stop to its reign by seal number 6, the great earthquake that will destroy all of its technology. So let's look now at number 8, empire. Now we haven't even started the lesson yet, but I'm just going through, giving you a framework so you can see who this whore is. Number 8, the new NWO reform, no more technology, but back to how the first empires reigned, with bows and arrows. Now, due to the destruction of its technology, rendering it to be a useless empire, it will go underground to reform itself. It will never be powerful as its predecessor, as it was before. Therefore, it will have to reluctantly rely on another entity, another Satan, to carry out its endeavors. And that will be the whore. The beasts are spiritual manifestation of Satans that are high-ranking fallen angels who govern the rest of the fallen angels and the Nephilim spirits. 4 Satans possessed the worldwide empires that have ruled over peoples and nations. The 5th Satan is locked away. That's Azazel. He is locked away until it is released from the bottomless pit. Now, once an empire was conquered, then another empire rose up, less in power and inferior to the one before. Hence the chest and arms of silver mentioned in Daniel chapter 2, representing the Medes and Persian Empire. And then after that you have gold, then you have silver, then you have brass, and then you have iron. Now this empire came after the Babylonian Empire, which was a golden head. The 3rd empire was less inferior to the silver, as it was a belly and thighs of brass, called the Greek Empire. Now once an empire was conquered and another rose up, a Satan, one of the 4, took possession. And that Satan was deposed, making room for the next empire with its Satan. So this is all intentional, and they're planned for the ultimate empire to reign. So the ultimate empire would be the NWO. because it's comprised of all the previous empires, all the evil, wicked ways and agendas that they had. The Satan that ruled the Roman Empire took possession of the Roman Catholic Church, and this entity will remain obscured until its true form is revealed as that of the whore of Babylon. The United Nations is prominent today with its own Satan until this empire diminishes and converges with the NWO. The same Satan will possess and reign and rule through these two empires in their succession. All right? Let us remember who these 5 Satans are and how they have been and will be operating through these empires. So let us recap where all of these 5 Satans will be and what they'll be doing here on the earth. So you have the UN will diminish and converge to become a part of the NWO, and that is one Satan. All right? That's the one that loves technology. The Roman Catholic Church received its Satan via its predecessor, the Roman Empire. This is number 2 Satan. Now the false prophet and the image of the beast empire will each have their own Satans. Now that will be a total of 4 Satans roaming the earth and taking possession of entities. And the 5th Satan will be Azazel, and he is in the bottomless pit currently. He was locked away either before the flood or after before the flood, because of what he did. He married women. He had children by women, and he taught men how to destroy one another. Wicked. This is one of the most vilest Satan of them all. Yes. Now the Roman, all of them are vile, and all of them are wicked, and all of them go in the same place, but this one is exceptionally wicked, and that's why the Most High locked this one away. Right? The Roman Catholic Church was not conquered, but will be transformed yet once again along with its headquarters called the Vatican, to be the whore of Babylon. The whore is also called the mother of harlots, meaning it is an entity that has spawned many, let's just say all, religions over the centuries, and now it has gathered these religions to roost under its wings. Therefore, the whore, is rightfully called pagan religion. It is also a city, as the Vatican is a city, the place that will rise up to be the center for all trades and commerce, and the headquarters for its worldwide one pagan religion. And now that we have refreshed our memory of these evil entities, including the whore of Babylon, let us now learn more of this very evil religious system. So now we are starting the chapter, verse 1. And there came one of the 7 angels who had the 7 trumpets and talked with me. Before it had vials, but it cannot be vials. It had to be one of the 7 trumpets, and I'll explain below. Saying unto me, come here, I will show you the judgment of the great whore that sits upon many waters. Now, in the Bible, it said 7 vials, which could not be correct. Remember, these people play around with our words and play around with the names and play around with it. They played around to keep us confused. All right, so it's not the 7 vials that this angel had. It would have been the 7 trumpets, which could not be correct. Okay, let me start that over again. In the Bible, it said 7 vials, which could not be correct because they had not been poured out as yet. And the past tense had is being used. Therefore, it could not be one of the angels that had the vials. The vials were not given out just at that moment, at that time, or previously, right? These angels had to be readied by Yahawah to do their duty, and so none of these angels would have talked to Yahawah before performing the command of Yahawah. Afterwards, yes, but not before. Yahawah at this point of time is ready to bring destruction to the great whore. It is the first Satan that is going to be destroyed, the first beast that is going to be destroyed. Notice that the angel described her as being great, for we have not seen anything yet. The whoredom in the world is not intensifying at an alarming rate, but it will get much worse than what we're seeing now. And thankfully, the southern kingdom, we're not going to see when this beast arise. Thankfully. And the northern kingdom wouldn't either, because they'll be in the land at this point of time. So the 12 tribes will be spared this evil entity. All right. The whoredom in the world, I said that already. Let me read it again. The whoredom in the world is not intensifying at an alarming rate, but it will get much worse than what we are seeing now. Hamashiach describes it as 2 horrific times rolled into one on the earth. That is called 2 horrific times rolled into one on the earth that called for Elohim to bring destruction of water and fire. So the 2 times that Hamashiach spoke about, and this was in Luke chapter 17, verse 26. And as it was in the days of Noah, who is Noah, so shall it be in the days of the Son of Man. What will be the days of the Son of Man? The days of judgment. Verse 27, they did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Now tell me, we have to eat, we have to drink, and marriage was given to us by Elohim. But it's not the eating and the drinking and the marrying. It is what you're eating, what you're drinking, and what you're marrying. All right? And during the time of Noah, it was the time of the fallen angels marrying wives, the daughters of men, and having the offspring, which is a hybrid species called the Nephilim. And they were the ones eating human flesh and drinking human blood. And they were sinning against their bodies using animals. All right? This was the corruption that was upon the earth because of what these fallen angels had done. So don't think it's about eating and drinking and getting married, because you have to eat, you have to drink, and He allows us to marry the opposite gender. Okay, verse 28. Likewise also as it was in the days of Yahawah, who is Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they built. Again, now, when you look at these words, they seem innocent enough, but you have to ask yourself a question. What were they eating? What were they drinking? What did they buy and what did they sell? What did they plant? What did they build? Demonic stuff, evil stuff. All right? Verse 29, but the same day that Yahawah went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. These things are going to happen. That means 2 times that the Most High sent judgment on the earth, flood. He completely covered this whole earth with water. And then He sent fire and brimstone to some cities there in Sodom and Gomorrah. It's coming again. All right. But finally, this last judgment is going to be the final judgment on the earth. And before it comes, the times that these inhabitants on the earth will have to live through will be worse than the days of Noah and the days of Yahawah combined. Right? It will be worse than those 2 separate times combined on the earth. Worse. A lot worse. So yes, they never stop eating flesh, they never stop drinking blood, and they never stop marrying and sinning against their bodies. Selling souls, buying souls. All right. Now the days of the Son of Man will be a day of judgment and destruction of all wickedness, and this entity called the great whore is the depiction of such wickedness. It will be sitting like a queen atop multitudes, nations, tongues, and peoples. Hence, it was described as sitting upon many waters. Its whoredom or harlotry will be as a woman who gives herself to men for substance, no commitment to anyone, but selling herself to the highest bidder, if there are any, or is any. Similarly, this great whore is a pagan religious system that will worship everything and anything except Yahawah. And it will be the greatest influence on people to do likewise. This religious system, when it was first called the Roman Catholic Church, killed, if it wasn't able to proselytize peoples, and this was done throughout the ages. Today, this very evil entity is condoning many abominations, according to the word of Yahawah. Introducing artificial intelligence as another means to worship. Did you see that in Germany? You should see the people lining up to go into this church that was being conducted. The service was being conducted by AI, and people lining up to be a part of this congregation. Can you imagine? And now they're talking about changing the Bible and making it more, appreciated by all people. Changing pronouns, all kinds of things. They're gonna, oh my goodness. If you don't have a physical Bible, go make sure you buy one here. Because if you're dependent on your smartphones or whatever else to have a Bible to read, you're going to be lost, because they're going to change anything on these smart phones, whatever technology you have. They're going to change it. They have the power to do it, but they cannot change your book. If you go and buy a physical book, they can't change that. So make sure you run out and get yourself a physical Bible. All right? They want to change everything now. That's what's happening. Changing the word of Yahawah to condone these abominations and AI. Removing all ethical and moral boundaries. Child sacrifices and much, much more that has already been done, and much, much more that they will be doing. We have only scratched the surface of the whoredom of this evil entity. We haven't seen anything yet. Now let's look at verse 2. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of our fornication. Now, in order to corrupt the earth, the leadership on this earth must first be infiltrated. And that's what they did. Like the presidents, prime ministers, congressmen, and women, the ones that are responsible for the court system, all these leaders had to be infiltrated. You might have one or two people that seem to be speaking out, but you're gonna hear them either they disappeared or they died in their sleep. I was watching this interview by this I can't remember, but he was a politician. I can't remember how old the video was, but this man was speaking out about the secret societies and all the different things that they were doing in the government. Next thing you know, the man took a plane with hundreds of other people, and the plane went down and him with it. He was the target, and the people were just collateral damage. That's what they do when you speak out against them. Especially before they were ready to roll out their agenda. Oh no, man. They take you out. All they got to do is get someone to touch your hand, and that person have poison, and that poison goes into your skin. Next thing you know, you either have cancer or you start foaming at the mouth. This is what they do. And that's how they took out a lot of people that were against this system, against these evil entities. They took them out and replaced them. And sometimes they replace them with people that look like them. So you don't even know that the person is dead. Right? They call it clone, but I don't believe that. They can make masks. They can make silicone masks to make you look like another person. I've seen it. I have seen it. I was looking at this, and it was a Japanese looking really pretty girl. And when this person started peeling off, it was a man, and not even Asian. It was a man wearing a rubber mask, silicone mask. They have them now. So you can look like anybody. They can put anybody under a mask and call them that person, and the real person is dead. They have that now. And I wouldn't discount cloning either. I wouldn't discount it. These people have Nephilim technology up their sleeve. They can do whatever they want to do. And lately what they did is, I saw this article too, where they created an embryo, a synthetic embryo, without using the male cell or the female cell, if you know what I'm talking about. But it's synthetic. So they're creating beings. All right? All right. So these things are being allowed because they have the right leadership in place to allow these things to happen. So all these people talking about picking up arms and going to fight, the only people that are allowed to pick up arms to fight will be the Northern Kingdom. Southern Kingdom, you need to keep yourself still. You need to get into the word of Allah and pray and fast and make sure that you're found worthy, that when he comes with his angels to reap the earth of the Southern Kingdom, that you're ready to go. That's all you need to do. Pick up arms what? If you live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword. All top leaders that help to reign over the nations, over the social structures, which are the tiers in this world, like the media, the financial institutions, and the like, all these leaders are part and parcel to the success of this evil entity. All these leaders, in order to make it to the top, must sell their souls, relate their loyalties to Satan, or else they will die and be replaced. We're nothing to the Satans. We're nothing. We're just cattle. We're just puppets. Well, not us, Yashraal, but the people. Just puppets to be used. Hence, all the world leaders are partakers of satanic worship and endorse the whore for now. The kings of this earth are these leaders. The inhabitants are the common foolish people that will submit to this religious system and become intoxicated, unable to use their senses. When a person is intoxicated, when a person is drunk, right? You can't walk straight. You can't think straight. You can't even talk straight. All right? You're slurring all over your words and you can't even make sense. So this is what is going to happen to people who submit to this whore. They're not going to be able to use their senses. They're not going to be able to think for themselves. Hence the stupor that will fall upon them. That's why it's called drunk. All these leaders and people will do all that this whore will instruct them to do, which will not be limited to just what they will worship, but they will eat human flesh, and what they will drink, human blood, indulging in strange flesh and orgies like nothing we have ever seen before, I saw this article, but they're trying to debunk it about them wanting to enter the SEX as a sport. Can you imagine? They want to enter that in as a sport. But don't worry about the fact checkers that try to debunk. This is how these evil entities introduce new ideas into the minds of people. And later on, you will see this come to pass. All right? This is how they break the ice. Get us intrigued. All right? Don't worry about the fact checkers. Remember when the fact checkers debunked aliens and spaceships? I'm not agreeing that there's such a thing as aliens. That people have seen. What people have seen are fallen angels. And the spaceships are Nephilim technology being used by the human agents of Satan for their future plans. That's what it is. Even the abduction. They were earthly people, but carrying out satanic plans. Yet today, we are hearing the governments and media confess that there are such things in existence. But why now? Why are they putting these entities on the airwaves? Why are they now saying, yes, we have aliens, and yes, they're spaceships, yes. Why? Because they're setting the stage to be able to explain what has happened to us, the southern kingdom, when the chariots come. That's all. That's all. They just want to make sure that people know that, okay, they are spaceships and they are aliens. So you know what they're going to say? Well, they just projected a hologram to make it look like horses of fire and a chariot of fire. But it's really a spaceship. But they didn't want you to see that it was a spaceship. And what they've done is that they've taken all these wicked Negroes off the earth. That's how they're going to explain it. They're going to call us the wicked ones. Good becomes evil, evil becomes good. So that's why they are now pushing this talk. After all these years of calling people tinfoil hat people, getting tongue-tied there, right? All these years, oh, you wear a tinfoil hat. Oh, you're crazy. There's no such thing as spaceships. There's no such thing as alien. Because they weren't ready to bring it out yet. And all of a sudden, they're saying, yeah, it's true. It was true all along. And people have such short memories. Why are they saying yes now? Because they're getting ready to explain the chariots that are coming for the southern kingdom. That's it. Verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of the names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Now this scarlet-colored beast, remember, when Satan was going after the woman, which we know is the southern kingdom, he was a scarlet dragon, a scarlet beast, which we know was at that time before she gave birth to the man-child, who is Hamashiach. That was the Roman Empire. But King Herod was affiliated with that empire. And it was King Herod that was trying to destroy Hamashiach. And then there was a lapse. And then the woman now is being pursued by this same dragon, this same Satan, who we know, because we know the Roman Empire never really went away, but it reformed itself and then it spawned other entities. And the one that is going to come after her is one of the spawns, which we know is the UN. All right. So here we have the scarlet-colored beast again. But this time it has the 7 heads and 10 horns, but no crowns. So it doesn't have the authority given to carry out its agendas. That's why it's going to be extremely dependent on this whore, but it will hate the whore. So let us recall several previous studies in this book of Revelation and the other study called the Beast of the Book of Revelation to understand the woman and the scarlet beast. Now the woman we already know is the whore of Babylon, and by the way, Babylon means confusion. The scarlet colored beast would be in this particular beast here, will be the 8th beast empire. That was of the 7th, meaning the NWO. The 7th empire was the NWO, technology-based empire that went underground because the technology was destroyed by the great earthquake, and then it was reformed and it became beast number 8, beast empire number 8, and it became possessed by Azazel because Azazel was released from the prison. All right, Azazel was released from his bottomless pit. He took possession of the NWO reform. He was the one who went after the 2 witnesses and destroyed them. That's the same beast. This is the same beast. All right. So now this beast, it doesn't have as much power. Neither does it have the authority to carry out its agendas. So it's dependent now on another Satan, which is the whore. All right. So the NWO reform will be weak and will depend on the whore to help it fulfill its final agenda on the earth. Therefore, the scarlet colored beast is the NWO reformed, having the 7 heads or systems and the 10 horns, which are the kings or rulers, but neither will have crowns, therefore no authority from Yahawah to carry out their agendas. So let me refresh you about what these 7 systems are, or they're called 7 heads of the beast empire. So you have the first one, which is the economic system. The second one is the governmental system, and that was an empire, the UN. The UN diminishes itself and becomes the governmental system, and this is the one that controls all the governments. The first one controls all of the economy and make it one economy. So one economy, one government. Then you have one financial system, one military system, right? One educational system. And then you have number 6, which is the media and communication system. And then you have the commerce and trade system. 1. All right. All controlled by this beast, the NWO. Those are the heads of that beast. And those are the heads that have been controlling us from the dawn of time. Now the woman, the scarlet beast, and including the 7 heads and 10 horns will all have the names of blasphemy upon them, as they're all part of the same demonic system that hates Yahawah. Therefore, they will carry names that will be full of contempt and reverence for him. Verse 4 of Revelation chapter 13 revised. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. Yahawah was seeing a prophetic image of this entity that spoke 1,000 words by its description. This whore was adorned in beautiful apparel with jewelry and a golden cup. Now, the colors, scarlet and purple, are colors that Yahawah used for his tabernacle. So let's look at that. Yahawah chapter 26 verse 1. Moreover, you shall make the tabernacle with 10 curtains of fine twined linen, blue and purple and scarlet. With cherubim of cunning work shall you make them. Even the ephod worn by the high priest were of those colors. Yahawah chapter 28 verse 6. And they shall make the ephod of gold, of blue, and of purple, of scarlet, and fine twined linen with cunning work. They even mockingly put a purple robe on Hamashiach when they were about to crucify him. Yahawah chapter 13, verse 5. Then came Yahawah forth, wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe. And Pilate said unto them, Behold the man. The Satans are copycats, always mocking and taking the things of Allah and perverse them as much as they can. They've done it with just about everything that Allah called good. They have turned around to perverse. All right? They perverse females, they perverse males, they perverse marriage. Even the rainbow, they perverse. All right? And so they take the colors of Allah and they perverse that too. Now, they've done the same thing with the rainbow, haven't they? I know that there are some people that relate colors to satanic worshippers, but please remember who created the colors in the first place. Yes, I know. When they use these Satan worshippers, they use colors and numbers as part of their coding. I understand that. But just because they use red and purple doesn't mean that I'm going to start wearing those colors. Well, frankly speaking, they're not even my favorite colors, but I'm just saying. All right? Not to discount the fact that they use certain colors as part of their coding, like black and white checkers. You know who uses the black and white checkers? The Masons. Nevertheless, we have to keep the creator of these colors always in the forefront. Allah created all the colors. They use it for their own perverse purposes. So we have to remember that and be careful not to throw the baby out with the bathwater. This religious system is showing itself to be very wealthy, colorful, and even exotic to the eyes. Remember, there was a time I went through Genoon. This is in the first book of Adam and Hawa. Genoon was the offspring of Cain, who is Cain. They were living down in the valley, and they were the ones that were marrying the fallen angels, the offspring of Cain. And what Cain did, Genoon, who is the offspring of Cain, he was a brilliant young man, and the Satan entered him because he was a willing vessel and taught him music. And Genoon was a great musician, and he used to work the people to a frenzy with his music, just like today. You listen to certain music, you get goose pimples, and you start feeling a certain way because that's the spirit in that music. Then he introduced to the same people liquor houses, alcohol. So not only are they feeling sweet with the music, they're feeling even sweeter with the alcohol, the drinking. Then they started doing the orgies and stuff. And then the last thing that was introduced was how to beautify themselves, wearing pretty clothing, painting up themselves to look delectable before the eyes of each other. And they use all three methods to bring the sons of Sawaf, who is Seth, from off the mountain. Because the sons of Sawaf were worshippers of Allah and they were wholesome. But they got distracted because they focused their attention on what was going on down the mountain because they were hearing the music. And as they were hearing the music, they start to bop to the music. And that's all Satan needs, is for you to give ear to his music. Remember the time when Nebuchadnezzar built the image, and when you hear the music, you had to fall down and worship the image. This was the three boys of Yahawah that refused to do it, and he threw them in the furnace, heated 7 times. Remember that. Satan uses these tactics because he knows our flesh desires these things, right? Our flesh are easily lured by these things. And one of the things is beauty, right? Beauty. You see someone in beautiful apparel, you're immediately attracted to that person. And even if you see them adorning jewels and jewelry, you're like, wow, that person looks so good. And immediately you are like, you can't take your eyes off of them. That's how Satan used that kind of beauty to attract even the children of Yahawah, to draw them away from him. So the religious system is going to be wealthy, colorful, and even exotic to the eyes. No wonder many will be drawn into her lair of great wealth, because she's going to be very wealthy, causing many to want that great wealth, thereby doing the evil things that will oppose all that is holy and righteous before Yahawah, in order to please the whore. This is where the golden cup comes in. So in order to please the whore, you're going to have to do the evil things that it tells you to do, and to reject Yahawah. Because this religious system will also be importing goods from merchants all around to resell them to the general public at an inflated price. That's why she's loved by the merchants. Later on, when the whore is burning, the merchants are all going to be crying, because who's going to buy their goods now? So this was the purpose of her buying the goods from these merchants and then reselling them to the public at an inflated price. That's how she got so wealthy. However, to do business with this evil creature, you will have to show and prove your alliance to it by rejecting Yahawah. You will have to conduct yourself in the most vilest manner. And as long as the whore is pleased with your misconduct, you will get her business. Many will fall prey to this evil and will love the whore for the money that they will earn through her. So let's take a look at Ezekiel chapter 28, and this is all going to tie in together as to why this creature, this entity, better word, is going to be beautiful to behold. Ezekiel chapter 28 verse 11. Moreover, the word of Yahawah came unto me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and that Tyrus can also mean Tyre, and say unto him, Thus saith Yahawah Yahawah, you sealed up the sum full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Now, although this is a judgment against the king of Tyrus, this king of Tyrus was operating on behalf of Satan. This king of Tyrus was possessed by a Satan. So this judgment that is given to the king of Tyrus is telling us who the real entity, evil entity behind this king is. So he's describing none other than Lucifer, a Satan. So he was perfect in beauty. He's not talking about the king of Tyrus. He's talking about the Satan that possesses this king, that possessed this king. Verse 13, you have been in Odan, that's the Garden of Eden, the Garden of Yahawah. Every precious stone was your covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and the gold. So this cherub, because that's who he's talking about, was adorned in precious stones. He was beautiful to behold. The workmanship of your tabrets, tambourine. So not only was he beautiful to behold, but he was also a musician and a singer. and of your pipes, meaning the bezel for a gem. So even the bezel where the jewels will sit was beautiful. Everything about this cherub was beauty, great beauty. So the workmanship of your tabrets and of your pipes was prepared in you in the day that you were created. So all these things were given to this cherub on the day that he was created. Verse 14, you are the anointed cherub that covered, and I have set you so. You were upon the holy mountain of Al-Hayam. What is that holy mountain? It's Sayawan. That's where the sanctuary of Al-Hayam is. So he was, not only was he beautiful to behold, but he was also the main angel inside the sanctuary of Al-Hayam. He was a very important and powerful angel. You have walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. He had power. He had position. He had beauty. He had a beautiful voice. He can play beautiful music. Everything about this cherub was beautiful. Verse 15, you were perfect in your ways from the day that you were created, till iniquity was found in you. And what was that iniquity? Because the worship that he should have offered up to Al-Hayam, he turned it upon himself. And he became a worshiper of self. And that's where religion was birthed. Verse 16, by the multitude of your merchandise, you have filled the midst of you with violence, and you have sinned. Therefore I will cast you as profane out of the mountain of Al-Hayam, which he did, and I will destroy you, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. So he lost his glory, he lost his position, he lost it all, except the corrupted power that he now is. Except the darkness that he now became. Verse 17, your heart was lifted up because of your beauty. You have corrupted your wisdom by reason of your brightness. And that brightness is the glory of Al-Hayam. And that's why I said in the beginning that these evil entities hate the 12 tribes of Yahshua, because we will have the brightness, their light, their glory that they have lost. Especially this cherub. All right. I will cast you to the ground. I will lay you before kings, that they may behold you. You have defiled your sanctuary in the multitude of your iniquities, by the iniquity of your traffic, your trade. Therefore will I bring forth a fire in the midst of you, from the midst of you. It shall devour you, and I will bring you to the ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold you. So at the end of the age, the Most High is going to reveal what this evil entity really is. And people will be like, oh my goodness, I couldn't, And he's going to destroy him. He's going to cast all of them into the lake of fire. Verse 19. All they that know you among the people shall be astonished at you. You shall be a terror, and never shall you be anymore. So he's going to cast them all into the lake of fire. And that's coming at the end of the age. But he's going to start his judgments now on these Satans, starting with the whore. Then he's going to move on to the beast. And then he's going to move on to the anti-Messiah, who is the false prophet. Then he's going to move on to what was the fourth one? The image of the beast empire is going to have a Satan as well. And he's going to judge that and cast that into the pit. And there's only going to be one left. There's only going to be one Satan left. And that's the one that is going to come out of that is Gadriel, that is going to come back, because he's the only one that does not have an entity to possess. So he's going to be floating around the place, right, waiting for his turn, because the Most High is going to restrict him. He can't just go and jump into anything. He got to wait his turn now. But he's the last one that the Most High is going to judge. You know why? Because he's the one that was in the Garden of Eden that tempted Adam and Yahawah to disobey the Most High. So he's going to get the worst of it all. And Allah himself is going to destroy him. The others Hamashiach is going to destroy. But this one, Gadriel, who's going to come with his armies against, this is after the 1,000 years. Oh, actually, I said that incorrectly. I said that incorrectly, because Gadriel is going to come out of Gadriel is the one that you see, I've done this a long time, a while back, so forgive me. But Gadriel is the one that the archangel Mayakaal is going to cast into the bottomless pit and put a seal over him. All right? He's going to put a seal over him so that he cannot speak. And that is how the earth is going to have peace for 1,000 years, because the other 4 Satans will be gone. All right? So Gadriel is going to be in the bottomless pit with a seal upon him. And then Hamashiach is going to rule on the earth for 1,000 years with the 12 tribes and the inhabitants on the earth. The earth is going to replenish itself again, and so will we. And then once those 1,000 years are up, then Gadriel is going to be released from his prison. Then he's going to bring forth his armies once again, because not everyone is going everyone's hearts are going to be for Hamashiach and for us, but they'll play along to get along, right? But the Father already knows who's who. As long as they don't step out of line, they're cool, right? They're okay. But once they see this entity arise up of the bottomless pit again, they're going to take sides with him, because they want to conquer us, because they want to take what belongs to us away from us and reign on the earth. You see, it's that desire to be like a god, that desire to have control and power. And these are the inhabitants on the earth that will want to steal from us again, like they've always stolen from us. So Gadriel isn't floating around, forgive me. He is going to be cast into the bottomless pit when I'll have to go back to my thing. I'll come back to that. I have it all mapped out before, but I'm here focusing on the whore, okay? So I will address that in the next study. In fact, I'll address it at the beginning of the next study, because we need to have the sequence of events on our minds. But we know that Gadriel is going to be cast into the bottomless pit. All right. So as you can see, Lucifer was a very beautiful cherub who was also a beautiful singer and musician. Today he's using these trades to influence inhabitants on the earth, to be an offense against Allah and to be abominable before him. That was what he did in the heavens, to draw a third of the angels with him. He used beauty, music, and sweet talk. Sweet talk. Because he's very persuasive, isn't he? To win the hearts of the other angels, and likewise he's doing the same today with people. That's how he has his army now. Because he makes them a lot of empty promises. He tells them a lot of lies. He's the father of deception. This whore will have the same abilities to lure people into its sphere of evil with filth and abominations. So let's look at the final for this section, this study. Verse 5, Revelation chapter 13, revised. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. So upon the forehead of this whore was a name written. Again, this is prophetic imagery for us to understand that this religious system will have one thing on its mind, and that is mystery. But what is this mystery? We're not talking about crime here. We're not talking about, when you watch one of those thriller shows, one of those kind of crime and I forgot it, crime and something, detective like shows. No, where you're looking for who done it type thing. No, not that kind of mystery. Mystery here is speaking of the dark arts, magic, witchcraft, sorcery, the occult, wizardry, sweet, secret religious rites. That's what the mystery is. All right. Babylon the Great, meaning great confusion caused by these dark arts. So people that are doing these dark arts will be lost in confusion, great confusion. The mother of harlots. This religious system is not a new kid on the block, but an old ancient system that has been around since Lucifer fell. It has bred all religions and even atheism. So atheism is another form of religion. If Yahawah is not worshipped, no matter who or what the religion is, this religious system has birthed it. Like those who call on Christ and the other pagan gods, no matter who you think you are, if you're not worshiping Yahawah, then you're worshiping under this system. That is why it is called a mystery. Babylon the Great, because it is conveniently camouflaged and it keeps people in confusion. Abominations of the earth, this pagan religious system promotes any and everything that is abominable in the eyes of Yahawah and throughout the earth as well. The entire earth will be under the spell of this entity, as we can see the evidence of this even today. We're seeing it happening right now as as I'm doing this recording. Contrary to popular opinion, the Whore of Babylon is not a country or a person. I started the study with that information, but it is a pagan religious system that has been around for a very long time now. It has spawned every religion known to man. And now it has drawn the strings of these religions together, making it one. One religion. People will find a common denominator in their religions, that all along they have all been worshiping the same God. That was what I was speaking about in the beginning. No matter what religion you're under, you're going to find out you are all worshiping the same gods. At the end of the day, it's the same God or gods. So whether Pentecostal, Catholic, no matter what, the same God. Buddhist, same God. Same God. And when that revelation comes to the earth, that's when this one world, this one religious system is going to be birthed. Because everyone is going to jump on board. Now, once this is discovered, then all the boundaries that separated religions will flee. So remember, it was these same evil entities that created boundaries to say that my doctrine is not your doctrine, so I'm not going to believe what you say, and I'm not going to follow what you do. So now that they're bringing revelation, that they're all worshiping the same gods, just called by a different name or different names. So they made the boundaries, so now they're going to delete the boundaries. The evil entities created the boundaries to keep us separated. And now they're going to remove the boundaries to bring all these people together as one, worshiping under these gods. All right? And new rituals will be created in the name of oneness. The worship of the creation will also be another common denominator. We're seeing this happening right now. That will also convince the multitudes that they are in agreement together to save the earth. All these things we are witnessing the beginnings of today. And they will escalate until the whore is finally revealed. But the whore will not be revealed until the northern kingdom, I'm thinking of the timeline. So the whore and her agenda, just like what we're witnessing today, will be felt and seen, but the rise of this entity will not take place till after the northern kingdom is in the land. All right, the land of Yahawah. But all along the way, this evil entity will be drawing the strings together, pulling the strings together, doing all the things together. But the final moment when she rises up will be almost the same time she'll be destroyed. But all along the way, her presence is there. But after the sixth seal, then you're going to find that events after that will start to quicken. All right? There'll be a quickening of these events because time is drawing to an end and the judgments are being rolled out faster and more and intense until we reach the 7 vials, which we know are going to be rolled out practically in a day. Going to be rolled out really fast. But we covered that in the previous study, the 7 thunders and the 7th trumpet. And so, yeah, that's it. So, this is the ending of part 1. I will look up. I have to go and refresh my memory about Gadriel. I did that study a few weeks ago. But because I'm doing so many other studies and you kind of have to get yourself focused on the study here and now, I do remember the bulk of it all, but the different little details like when will Gadriel be cast into the pit, yeah, that kind of escaped me for the moment. So forgive me for that. I will look it up and I will address it. Make a note to myself and address it in part 2, the beginning of part 2. Okay? So with that, I'm going to read the blessing for Yahawah, the Barayan, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 24 to 26. And it starts off, Yabarakat Yahawah wa Yashamara. May Yahawah bless you and keep you. Ya'ar Yahawah panayo alayak wa yachanat. May Yahawah cause his face to shine upon you and have favor upon you. Yasha'a Yahawah panayo alayak wa yosham lak shalom. May Yahawah lift up his face upon you and give you peace. Shalom. And I say, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High. Abba Yah.